This is Harley Race, 8 times NWA World's Heavyweight Champion, first ever King of the Ring, and you're locked into Beyond Ringside.
Welcome into the Beyond Ringside Shooters Gallery, kicking off into hour number 2. Fast Eddie Layne in Studio 1C, also called My Little Corner of the Cave. Yes, the studio letter changes when the hour changes. Welcoming it back in, tag team partner from the promoter's desk, from the Peach State, Mr. Shane Noles. What's up, Shane?
Oh, man, doing well, and we are in hour 2, and I know we'll come back to the squared circle and wrap things up in a pretty bow, but wanted to go in a different direction here. Eddie, you are a smart man for not filling out a bracket for March Madness this year. The NCAA men's tournament, as we currently stand, the Final Four taking place in Arizona this weekend, which is amazing to me. So many things on the table with wrestling WrestleMania weekend. The Final Four getting a little undervalued right now. I know we're still a couple of days away. But interesting tidbit, didn't know if you saw it. Out of 19.5 million brackets on ESPN.com, 0.6%, I think right at 371, had the Final Four correct. You have a blue blood in the University of North Carolina Tar Heels, a number 1 seed. You have a 1 seed in the Zags of Gonzaga, who have never made a Final Four. You have the University of South Carolina Gamecocks, a 7 seed, never made the Final Four. And you have a 3 seed, the University of Oregon Ducks, who last made the Final Four the first year of the tournament in 1939 when there were only 8 teams in the field. Wow.
That's funny. That's funny. I was watching a show this morning, and one of the people that they there was supposedly an interview with Kobe Bryant. I'm gonna shift it to NBA for a hot second. I think it was Kobe. He made the comment, "This could be the first year that we actually have co-MVPs." He has in his personal book both Harden and Westbrook that he would put in place for the most valuable player of the league. And I've got to ask the question now. Everybody's going to have a different opinion. When you think MVP for the league itself, what is one of the first criteria that comes into your mind? For you personally.
Most valuable player to his team. And for that very reason, I do agree with back in the day, Shaquille O'Neal could have won it every year. Or you could give it to LeBron James every year. But I'm glad they don't. But I do think most valuable player to the team. I listened to Mike and Mike, the podcast about this, and Kobe's taken some heat because he said, I would never agree to that as a player, having co-MVPs, but standing outside, now, he would say, and I agree with him. And man, it's so tough. I get it. Russell Westbrook is averaging, and you asked me one question, I'm going off the rails here. Westbrook is going to probably average a triple-double, which has only been done once in league history since 1949 by the Big O, Oscar Robertson. And when you get to talking about things that have never been done before or only once, ding, 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 you start thinking awards, hardware. But James Harden, for a guy that, I railed against for a couple of years about all he could do was shoot, and that's all he cared about. This guy, if I'm not mistaken, is now leading the league in assists while also averaging right at 30 a game.
Right.
Westbrook last night scored the most points ever in a triple-double, 57 points with the triple-double. He's also done 52. And it was interesting to me. I did not realize this. The other 2 times 50 points have been scored in a triple-double this year by James Harden. So he may not have the body of work as far as number of triple-doubles, but Houston, to me, and this may seem fair or unfair, I look at to your team. Now, it's not Russell Westbrook's fault that Kevin Durant has left. They are looking at a 6 seed, possibly a 7 for the playoffs. Meanwhile, Harden with Houston, the 3 seed, and I have personally watched them when I get home from trivia a couple of times this year, with both rosters healthy and intact. James Harden and the Houston Rockets have won at Golden State and at San Antonio, and it's been because of him passing distributing the ball and scoring in crunch time. And my vote would have to go to James Harden. And if you'd asked me that 2 years ago, I'd say, dude, he wouldn't be in my top 6. But that's why each season is different. And I think sometimes that gets lost on people. We've talked about this before, giving an award based on what happened in the past or who got jobbed 2 years ago. No, do it for right now, because right now I think James Harden has had a tremendous season, and that's no detriment to Russell Westbrook. He's having one of the best individual seasons we've ever seen in NBA history. It's tough.
Yeah, right now it's in the triple-double leaders, Westbrook 75, LeBron 52, and James Harden 29. All-time triple-double leaders, Oscar Robinson, of course, 181, damn. Magic Johnson at 138, and Jason Kidd at 107. I mean, that's high.
Yeah, I was going to say Kidd better pop up there.
Yeah, that's high-class company there, kids.
Mm-hmm.
But by the same token, the way Russell's going is like, that's not out of realm. But
No.
yeah, and lo and behold, what was it? I thought I saw a stat fly across my screen a few minutes ago on Monitor 4 that LeBron has officially passed person on stats, and I'm trying to remember who it was. Shaquille O'Neal on points.
Yeah, for total points. Yep.
Hard to believe, but not really, especially when you are I can't call it. Okay. Can I still call LeBron James the Iverson-style ball hog? Or has he actually moved past that point to where he is a more all-around player? I mean, lo and behold.
It reminds me.
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. It reminds me a little bit of Rajon Rondo. He's one of the more unselfish players I've ever seen on the court, if that makes sense.
It makes sense. It makes perfect sense. Now, we'd made statements about the NBA, and you heard me say something going into the break. And this one is a hot button topic for me because of the sheer inane stupidity of the moment. Apparently, during an interview, NBA Commissioner Silver made a comment regarding the fact that he feels like it should happen on his watch that we should have the first female head coach in the National Basketball Association. I feel that comment was totally unwarranted. Why? We have 2 female assistants right now in the National Basketball Association. Nancy Lieberman works for one team, and you have a very superb assistant working under Pop in the San Antonio Spurs operation, who some people would honestly say is being groomed for the lead role when Popovich steps away.
Hammonds, I believe.
Yeah. I remembered Hammonds. I couldn't remember Becky. Thank you. And you're right, it was Becky.
No problem. Tag team partner.
There you go. For Silver to make a comment that he feels it's time for a female head coach in the NBA, I feel that puts him in very precarious waters. To which I will sit back and say, in the majority of life's realms, I don't care about your gender. Can you do the damn job? I mean, I did have a lawsuit at one point because I was told that my chest was wrong to be the towel boy in the Playboy Playmate spa area and dressing room. They said that they would rather have a person who didn't have to shave their chest. It's like, okay, that's genetics. Are you saying that I can't have the job because I'm a guy? They said, yes. I said, that's basically a gender bias, and that's illegal. They said, well, the ad did call for a girl. I said, I identify as me. I'm a guy. Leave me alone. In the words of Brad Paisley, I'm still a guy. Love the song too. But by the same token, look, the commissioner stuck his foot in it in a huge way by making that comment. When the right person comes along with the right credentials, not a problem. But yet, lo and behold, I believe it is still the case that there was a statistic proven. Okay, and I'm going to pull 2 names. Number 1, Pat Summitt. Who knows if she would have wanted to coach in the NBA or the WNBA? She had a dynasty at Tennessee. And in my book, Pat Summitt is on the Mount Rushmore of basketball coaches, collegiate level. Period. I put her in the same plane as Adolph Rupp, John Wooden, Bobby Knight. and quite a few others. But I'm stopping in that realm because I did say Mount Rushmore, which has 4 faces on it. Until some people get their way. But I think right now the hottest coach in the women's period would be, who is the gentleman who is going for his 5th women's NCAA championship or Connecticut?
Gino Auriemma.
Yeah, I always screw his name up and say Origami. Just for the hell of it, just to mess with people. But yes, I mean, he is the standard bearer now. And just as when Pat Summitt was with us, she was the standard bearer. For me personally, I wrap it up the way I said it a minute ago. If the right person comes along with the right credentials that shows that they can do the job, I have no issue with it whatsoever. I will applaud the hire. But I don't think someone should be hired just because they are a certain gender. Shane, your thoughts?
I am right there with you, and I look at it, bring up a hot button issue still for a lot of people, the presidential race in America. Those who said, you're not going to vote for Hillary Clinton because she's a woman, fine. There's a problem with that. If you're only going to vote for Hillary Clinton because she's a woman, I got a problem with that too. Falls right into what you're talking about with this basketball category. Let it be about the merits, not the gender. If it's Becky Hammond, if it's Alvin Gentry, on their merits as a coach, not, whether they stand up or they sit down, which is still kind of been blurred in this country now. But that's the way I feel about it. I mean, and I look at it, you go back to, I hate to bring up the race car, but with Barack Obama, I heard this, so many people said, well, you only voted for him because he's black. Well, or, if you don't vote for him, because he's black, there's a problem. If you only vote for him because he is African-American, same deal. I mean, forget race, forget gender, merits, accolades, resume. That's what it should be about when we talk about equal opportunity employers.
The opportunity should be afforded to the one who has earned it.
And to shift that up, I understand in the National Football League when they started about 8 years ago, the Rooney Rule, where you must interview at least one minority candidate for your head coaching position because they didn't feel that there were enough minority coaches. Sometimes I don't get that. If you're an owner and you want to hire Jimmy Johnson over Mike Tomlin, those are just 2 names I'm throwing out there, why do you have to disrespect Mike Tomlin and give him the interview and go through the process knowing he's not your guy?
Yeah. See, it comes back to the same way that I talk about people in general. I don't care about the casing. I care about the spirit. I care about the heart. I care about the soul. That's the way that I've always been. I don't judge the book by looking at the cover. And I've always said, when I meet a person, I give them a blank slate and a piece of chalk. And then I form my opinion based on what they put on that chalkboard. That's it. That's the way I've always been. And I'm not a, starry-eyed, naive idealist in that regard. I'm just a fair person. And that seems to be something that's incredibly lacking in this day and age. I'm sorry.
Yes.
But I'm going to flip the switch because I know there's some topics you'd like to put on the table. Shane, the floor is yours, my friend.
Well, thank you. I'll go back to the Final Four. You didn't do a bracket, but now you got almost a 25% chance of getting it right. Eddie, give me your Final Four picks. Your championship game winner. I'll start with the University of North Carolina coming out of the South region, playing the Oregon Ducks from the East. Who makes it to the title game?
Give me that one more time.
The University of North Carolina Tar Heels versus the Oregon Ducks.
I'm taking the Ducks in the upset. I don't like North Carolina, never have, never will.
Oh, that hurts my heart as a Tar Heels fan.
I'm sorry.
I respect the opinion. No worries. I respect your opinion. Well,
okay.
I was going to make the joke out of all this chaos. Wouldn't it be crazy if we still had 2 number 1 seeds meet the championship game?
Oh, yeah, it would be.
In the other one, the University of South Carolina versus Gonzaga.
I like South Carolina's chances, but I think the Zags are going to pull it out. And let me go ahead and clarify something. I was never a huge fan of Dean Smith. That's why I had the problem with NC. Mr. Williams is a much better personality on the court. I gained.
So your title game victor?
Let me shift. I'm going to go back. For as much as I really hate myself for doing this, give me Gonzaga, North Carolina.
Oh. And your title game victor, who cuts down the nets?
Gonzaga goes to the mountaintop.
Nice. I do think it's funny, North Carolina being a blue blood, so to speak, and you look at three teams that have either never been there or it's been over 70-something years. And
right.
You got North Carolina that has accolades of multiple championships. The possibility of another team getting there first is amazing to me. And I just wonder if it's an Oregon-South Carolina final, the networks may hate it. And even as a Carolina fan, I'd say, screw the network. That's fresh. I mean, I'm one of the few that doesn't have to have a North Carolina, Kansas, Duke, or UCLA, or Kentucky in the title game to make it interesting. For geographical purposes, I think it'd be funny to have North Carolina, South Carolina.
Oh, that'd be funny as hell. It'd be funny as hell, and I would. I'm sorry, I would pull for the Gamecocks. SEC on that one. I'm sorry.
I am going to go with Gonzaga and North Carolina, and that's probably going to get me in trouble. Both number one seeds will probably fall Saturday, thanks to my pick there. I will take North Carolina ever so slightly over Gonzaga, but I don't discredit the Ducks because a lot of people thought they were going to lose. To put it in perspective, Oregon lost one of their top two players to a torn ACL right at the end of the Pac-12 tournament. And a lot of people thought, okay, that's a 3 seed that's going to get knocked off. And Kansas looked like world beaters, scoring 90 points or more their first 3 games. Oregon led by double digits the entire game. So as a Carolina fan, I don't discredit the chances of Oregon pulling what would be an upset. But it's been fun to watch. Now to transition to something else, a little bit of NASCAR, Eddie, because I don't get a chance to bring this up much because I am a Jamie McMurray fan. I am a Kyle Larson fan. I like Chip Ganassi, Felix Sabates, but it's so interesting to me after we sit through the first month of the season, Kyle Larson leading the points, Jamie McMurray in 6th, and hearing them talk about on the race about how Ganassi 4 years ago realized they weren't cutting it. He wasn't going to try to hotshot it overnight. He had a 3 or 4 year plan, and it seems to be coming to fruition. Both of his drivers, a 2-car team, consistently in the top 10, seemingly on every stage. And my goodness, Kyle Larson is having one of those Harry Gant type of runs where it's like top 2 every week. And this past week at Montana, finally, but after you've had 3 straight runner-ups, getting his first win of the season. And I thought about this when I did the trivia question for you, and there's a hot segue here in a second, about Matt Kenseth being the oldest full-time driver on the circuit at 45 years old. Looking around, if you look at the top 12 in points, it's not the usual suspects along the way. And I think we're starting to see that next generation. It's way too early to call, but I want to get your thought. I could see a Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, not rivalry, but as far as the top 2 dogs within the next 3 to 4 years in NASCAR.
Yeah, they're sitting 1-2 right now in the overall points, and both of them each have 1 stage win, and Larson has a win under a checkered flag to his credit this season. Chase Elliott, 29 points behind Kyle Larson, isn't that far back, especially with the point structure the way it is. Somebody has, if Larson has one bad day, lo and behold, you got people who can make a jump up real quick, but you can also see the disparity as far as the certain point stages go. I mean, you've got people that have got playoff points. I mean, Larson's already got 6 playoff points. Martin Truex Jr. has 8. Ryan Newman has 5, and Brad Keselowski still has 5. I'm not becoming a Brad Keselowski fan. That's why I didn't do the ratchet barf that I normally do. Crank it up like a wrench. But like I said, regular listeners to the show know the fact that I've actually gained a little bit of respect for the kid because of the way he's actually shouldered some of the responsibility for some of the things he's done, unlike his partner in the Penske Princesses, Joey Logano, Joy. But no, it's like you've got the jump in play. I'm going to run this down real quick. I've been trying to keep track of the points because the new point system's got me befuddled to a great degree, but I'm able to follow most of it. With Larson in the lead, Chase with 29 back, Truex back at 38, Keselowski 64 points back. So you see those bounces occurring. Jamie McMurray 81, Ryan Blaney 86 back, Clint Boyer 100 points back. Two more close to him than Ryan Newman at 120. I'm tied with Denny Hamlin 120 back. If they're not careful, they're going to need the stage win points in order to solidify things. Now, granted, we're in a position where I'm very happy you've had, I think it was 5 races under the belt, and you got 5 different winners, which is something that always, for me, I enjoy the concept. It's not always the same person running away race after race. Now, Martinsville is going to be a different animal, and we are at Martinsville this week, weather permitting.
We are at Martinsville this week.
Weather permitting.
Grandfather clock.
Yeah. That would be a beautiful trophy to take home. It always is. I think the only other one that I love the concept of the giant lobster, but by the same token, it's like, yeah, you can only enjoy that once because it just doesn't make for great leftovers. At least the grandfather clock, is something that's going to stick around and be there for a while.
And I cannot remember the old track owner of Martinsville, but I know this is still a tradition they've carried on to this day. His family still does not put 10,000 tickets on sale until the day of the race for those walk-up fans. I just think that's a beautiful deal. They're the only track in NASCAR that does that.
Yeah. But if you've noticed, the attendance was not bad this past week. The attendance was better in the stands than I've seen lately at that track. And I don't know if they've actually managed to turn a corner to get people interested again. I was one of the biggest skeptics of the stage system. And then I see what they're doing with it. So I'm sitting back going, okay, maybe I rushed. Smoke a joint, take a poop, and eat some Fruit Loops, and we'll take another look at this. And upon further review of the situation, I withdraw my yellow card. Unlike the situation with Harvick's crew chief. Sorry. Hate that for him, too. Glad to find out he is only 4 inches long. That way everybody else doesn't have... 4 inches tall. Son of a bitch, I messed that up. I'm so screwed in social media this week, it's not even funny. Back to you.
I have enjoyed the stage format. It has, for me, what I had first talked about when we did a little NASCAR preview, it's made it interesting. I think the old adage of tune in for the first 10 laps and the final 10 laps is not the train of thought anymore, because we're seeing, certain, a NASCAR race that starts at 1 o'clock Eastern, 12 Central, you knew you wouldn't really have to tune in until around 4 o'clock to catch the good stuff. I try to watch as many full races as I can. I'm just talking about the mentality of the average viewer. But now, if a race starts at 1 o'clock, probably around coming up about 2:15, that first segment's going to be over, and there's points on the line. And I love the fact that only the top 10 in a segment get scored points. You can no longer ride around. I can't wait to when this comes to Talladega, because the old adage of we're going to sandbag between 29th and 40th all day long and come around the final 25 laps, you can't do that anymore, because if you sandbag 29th through 40th, you're not getting scored for the first segment, and you're not getting scored for the second segment. Make them try to run up front. I like it. It's been fresh.
I believe that it does encourage healthy competition throughout the course of the race, but the only thing that really bothers me is the fact that you do have the potential, especially at a race like Talladega, where that track is so volatile, especially when green. Especially when it's fresh, when it's had 2-3 days of rain and the rubber is gone bye-bye. Oh boy, Dega, logistical nightmare for your senses. I think this will be I'm not going to have enough time to lose enough weight to be able to fit in a car. There's normally a couple of driving experiences that come just before and just after Talladega. Dale Jarrett used to have a really good one, and I've always told myself that I'm going to do this. I mean, I've worked with Talladega ISC on a number of different years, and I've done everything from fire safety, track watch, emergency services, all of the above. I've always enjoyed myself working out there, and you always meet some of the coolest people. This is one of the things that I really enjoy, because you have people who have that built-in predisposition against NASCAR because, for many, many years, it was a Southern thing. And it was a rum runners thing. It was a moonshiners thing. And, of course, that's where it got its start. Who cares? But the people that I've had the privilege of meeting in a lot of NASCAR fans have just been absolutely tremendous. And, occasionally you do get the dumbass, but you overlook those. I've worked in the bar business for over that many years. I've learned how to overlook the idiot, and I don't let it affect my vision when it comes to speaking to other people. You got people that can sit back, turn up a 12-pack of beer, and it's like, "How you doing? Good to see you." You have one who has one shot of Jack Daniels who just becomes the ass. Well, that one I overlook. So that's why it's like you've got more people who are coming back to NASCAR or coming to NASCAR because it's not always about the Bubba mentality. You can be Southern all day long. You can be redneck all day long. As long as you're not a hick or a hayseed, that's an entirely different bird. Shane?
You're exactly right on that. I'm Southern born, Southern bred. I love my classic country music. I will put on some sunscreen and take the shirt off. Used to do at the grandstands in Talladega Speedway, but, went to college. I like to think that I'm decently educated, learning every day, so I don't fit into the Bubba deal, but I agree with you. There's some fine line you can draw on NASCAR fans. The response I've talked to, a lot of people are engaged in this season so far, and I think the 5 different winners in 5 different races doesn't hurt. Because people get tired, as you know, that same old guys winning every race, insert whoever's done that here. And one more thing on sports, because I went college basketball, we went NBA. Actually, before I go to the other one, let's stick with the NBA for a second, because this is one that I didn't get a chance to participate in last week, if you did bring it up. The resting of players.
Yeah, we can do that.
And I'll just shoot here first. This is a dangerous precedent that was set by Greg Popovich about 3 years ago, resting players. And I get why they do it. Fresher legs, fresher bodies, make for bodies that can last longer in the postseason. I get it. But when the average ticket price, for what they are, to an NBA game, I've heard the argument, why do they do it on road games? I get it. Road trips are tough, especially when you're playing 4 games in 5 nights or 4 games in 6 nights, traveling across, especially east-west, west-east. But why not rest those players on home games? Your home fans have 41 different opportunities in an 82-game schedule to see those guys. When you say, and I'm just going to throw this out here, I'm a Boston Celtics fan. They haven't engaged in it. But if they were, the Celtics make one trip to Portland. If they rested Isaiah Thomas and Al Horford on that Portland game, think of those fans that bought tickets to see the Celtics and they're not seeing the Celtics. And I can speak from experience. I've been burned on this 4 years ago. Even though I despise LeBron James and the Miami Heat when they were together, they came to Atlanta. I don't think I've ever shared this with you, Eddie, and I happened to be off work on a Thursday evening, and it was a Thursday night TNT game. I said, well, you know what? I want to see LeBron, Wade, and Bosh play. I bought a single ticket to Phillips Arena to go. I get there, and they're in street clothes. No LeBron James, no Dwayne Wade, no Chris Bosh, and I watched about 10 minutes and I left. I don't leave a movie early. I don't leave a baseball game early. Nothing. I stick it out because I've invested my money, but I felt disgusted. That was not what I paid for at all. It was hard to, it was just not a very pleasant experience. So I feel people's pain on this. As far as rest, and then there's LeBron James saying it doesn't matter to some extent about resting people, basically saying if the fans don't like it, it's about us protecting our brand. But kudos to Mr. Patrick Beverley, who may be the only time I ever reference him on this program. He is the starting point guard for the Houston Rockets. And he said, I'm not interested this week. He said, I'm not interested in resting ever because I worked too damn hard to get into this league. Those fans pay too much money to watch us do what we do. The least you can do is go out there and do your job and perform. So kudos to Patrick Beverley, in my opinion. Now, I get it. Rest is a big thing. We see this in the NFL. Like in the last week of the season, if you've already got a playoff spot clinched your division, you may rest some starters. But they'll still play a quarter or a half. You're still giving the fans a little bit. Just resting them entirely when you spent maybe $85 to $150 on a ticket to see said players, I think if Adam Silver wanted to do it right, I like the theory of if you're going to do this, rest them on home games.
Yeah.
Because a home fan may say, okay, just take the Atlanta Hawks for a little bit. If I go and they rest Dwight Howard and they rest Paul Millsap against the Bucks, okay, I could still go see them and say this is a Friday night. I could still go Sunday and see them play the Celtics. It's not my only opportunity in that market. I think that would do a world of good. Do not rest your players on road games. Do it. Not to crap on the home fans, but we're talking more exposure here. They have opportunities. It's getting to be a bad problem. And, with the whole, when the pressure starts coming on ESPN and Turner, because that was what got it whole started, was the Golden State Warriors rested Curry, Thompson, and Green against the San Antonio Spurs on a nationally televised game 2 weeks ago on a Saturday night on ABC. Now you start seeing the feedback, and when it hits the TV networks and they ain't happy about ratings and money, that's going to cause change.
Also, don't forget on that same night, you had LeBron and Kyrie resting for the Cavs.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was two games, both nationally televised, where you had primetime starters, and these were primetime games being advertised when it's like, look, and LeBron James just needs to learn when to shut the hell up.
Exactly.
You may be one of the 5 best players in the league right now. I will not say the best player in the league. I'll say one of the 5 best players in the league. But there comes a point in time, and the microphone's going to be stuck in your face. People are going to, reporters are going to ask your perspective on it. But 9 times out of 10, reporters are waiting on you to put out the quote that can be twisted and misconstrued. Well, boy, you done a good one on that one. I remember the interview. I remember the airing 6 times between Dan Patrick Sports Center and Mike and Mike. Really? The first thing he does, well, Pop's been doing it for years. So what? We're not asking about Pop. We're asking about you. We're asking about the Cavs. Mm-hmm. We're not asking you to be a second grader and dish off the blame. You want to be the star? You want to be the one people talk about? Take it, make it, own it. And then by the same token, I blame the media. Oh, we got to get a hot take from LeBron. We got to get a quote from LeBron. No, you don't. The only quote or hot take or quote you need to worry about from LeBron is the damn game he just played. That's all I care about. I may be in the minority on this one, but I don't care what he feels about the league having a problem with something. LeBron doesn't own the damn league. Just like Steph Curry doesn't, just like James Harden doesn't, just like Westbrook doesn't, just like Isaiah Thomas doesn't. No one player is the genuine face of the league. I don't care how hard the media tries to make it that way. I never buy into that. The person could be the face of a franchise and of a team, but not the whole damn league. Because you got people who pull for the Warriors who can't stand the Cavs. They will put Steph Curry and the rest of that crew on a higher pedestal than the Cavs any day of the week. Win, lose, or draw. You have to understand the press. And this is something that should be mandatory for any athlete. The press is going to find a way to press you for an answer that they can make into a quote. You can lay out a 5-minute response, but there's going to be that one 5-second soundbite that is going to get your ass buried. But I also think that LeBron James likes the drama. He tried to deflect it to Popovich. Well, if you're talking about Pop, you're not talking about me. Make your mind up. You want people to talk about you or talk about Pop? That's one of those rationalization characteristics. But like I said, he's going to be who he is. I still think he's overrated. I still think he's overhyped. I think, look, he's a phenomenal player. I will never take anything away from that. But as far as being a professional, not always. Shane?
Yep, setting a very dangerous precedent for those who idolize his every move. And I agree with you. Face of the league, even though I use that term sometimes, I say it as the most popular player. Because I agree with you. All these leagues move on and flourish or not flourish, whether or not you play. It's just like pro wrestling. And we'll bring it back full circle here. No one person's ever bigger than the business, ever. Because it doesn't matter how big you are in a title match or a program or a feud. We've had people walk out, quit, get mad, change up, whatever. Guess what? Raw and SmackDown still air the next week. The pay-per-view still set. House show arena dates will go on. It's the circus, and you're just a part of it, not the face of it. But now that brings up this week, and normally you do the segue, but I wanted to get in this week's couple of trivia questions.
Sure.
This week for you. This one was the bonus last night, and I thought this might be funny. I'll do the shameless plugs as we go along. This question was the bonus question last night at Locos Cantinas down in Piedmont, Alabama, which is every Wednesday at 7 o'clock Central Time. So if you were playing last night, and the final question was this: Happy Days Television.
Oh, boy.
Besides Arthur Fonzarelli, name the 3 characters that remained on the show for all 11 seasons.
Marion Ross.
Correct. Mrs. Cunningham.
I'm trying to remember if Tom Bosley took a, oh God. Yeah, it was Tom Bosley. I just had a flashback to Bosley from Charlie's Angels. I'm trying to remember if he took 1 year off. But
he did not. You would be correct with Mr. Cunningham.
Okay. And the third one that I really want to go with is Anson Williams.
Correct, Amundo. Warren Weber, better known as Potsy, staying for the full duration. Great job.
Thank you. You're talking about one of my favorite series of all time.
I will tell you this, Eddie Layne, who is a trivia aficionado, just got a question right that 9 teams playing last night did not get all 3 correctly.
Somebody
had 1, some had 2, none got all 3.
And some people forgot that Donnie Most actually left for a couple of years.
Yes, Ralph Mouth left in season 6 and came back for seasons 10 and 11.
Right. Yep. And then Aaron Moran and Scotty Baio left to go do Joni Loves Chachi, which bombed.
Mm-hmm.
Badly.
And there was another spinoff, Laverne and Shirley, a spinoff.
Yes.
With Happy.
Yes. Actually, 3 spinoffs that Happy Days can take credit for. Laverne and Shirley, Cindy Williams and Penny Marshall, Joni Loves Chachi, mentioned them a minute ago, and Mork and Mindy.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the focus group appearance that ABC orchestrated with Robin Williams to debut the character Mork from Ork on Happy Days. And the focus groups went through the roof, and they said, we'll take 10. Come on. Sign them up. I still miss Robin Williams to this day. And this is something where I'm going out on a limb for a hot second, and I'm going to change the tempo. It was late knowledge for a lot of people, long-time knowledge for those who knew him and those who followed him closely, that Robin battled depression on a daily basis. The funniest thing about comedy is it normally comes from the darkest part of our heart, even on current events. Some people can take current events and make it and spin it around and make it funny and make it passable. Yes. Especially in these days when so many people do so many stupid things that are just funny as hell to begin with. But personal comedy is normally from a very dark place. And in my book, Robin Williams was one of the all-time greats at stand-up. I've watched a number of his performances. Saw him live in Atlanta many years ago. And from that vantage point, I still feel horribly bad about the way he decided to cash out. But that's normal for some people that mishandle or the depression gets the best of them. That's why I'm going to sit back and say this, and I'm not going to preach, kids. I don't do that. If you have a friend or a family member that you know battles depression, whether they're on medication or doing it the hard way, never be afraid to step up and say, need a friend, need an ear, need a shoulder, need somebody to talk to. Chances are they may say yes. And when they do say yes, that's when you do the sigh of relief. Because you just may have saved somebody from going into a dark place that they can't climb out of. Depression does hurt. I deal with it the hard way on a daily basis. Trust me. Have for many, many years ever since I was a kid. People who know me have a tendency, they'll find a way to get me to snicker, smirk, laugh, chuckle, whatever, to try to pull me up. And I appreciate that. But I hide it very well sometimes. Other times, I'm about as transparent as a plate glass window. But if you have someone in your circle, family or friend, that you know suffers from depression, take a minute. Step in. Step up. Don't step off. Because when you step up, you can help them rise up. And it's always just that easy. I'm sorry for going in that direct. Actually, no, I'm not. Because I'll do that every once in a while. I do have a deeper side to me than just the, happy-go-lucky F-off that loves to throw one-liners every once in a while and loves to aggravate the hell out of people. But I wanted to say that when we brought up Happy Days and Robin Williams. I felt that needed to be said. So, Shane, thank you for your indulgence.
Oh, absolutely, brother. No need to apologize. And I agree with you. You never know what someone's going through, how they look outside on the surface, but when they are alone to their own thoughts, you never know what someone is dealing with. So I agree with you wholeheartedly in that respect.
I'm trying to remember the name of the movie where I heard one of my favorite lines, "Stay out of my psychosis." I think it was Dream Team.
Transitioning to Cracker Barrel, Eddie, this restaurant chain has come under fire in the last week and a half for firing Brad's wife.
Who the hell is Brad's wife?
What the reason was.
Who the hell is Brad's wife? They've never put out her name that I know.
She's unemployed. That much we know. It's called a stir on social media. So I couldn't help but take the opportunity to do a Cracker Barrel themed question Tuesday evening at Locomex. You see how I'm fitting this in here with questions. Locomex restaurant down in Jacksonville, Alabama, Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock for Taco Tuesday. Dollar tacos, Dollar House beer. If you were there, this was the question. The restaurant chain Cracker Barrel is known for selling Southern food and a brand of rocking chairs that are endorsed and designed by which country music singer?
Dolly Parton.
You are correct that it's a female.
Oh, crap. Gonna pass. Go for it.
Reba
Damn it.
McEntire.
I was gonna say it. I
The
swear I
Rockin'
was.
Rebas.
I'm gonna get heat for missing that. I'm gonna get heat for missing that. That's
probably one of my favorite questions. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
If you were at Trivia Monday night at 7 o'clock Central Time at Locomex down in Jacksonville, Alabama, this was your final question in hockey. And I really enjoyed this one because people had to think outside the box. Had 2 teams out of 10 get this one right. We'll see how you fare. What NHL hockey team plays a movie theme song from composer John Williams in its home arena every time the home team is on the power play?
San Jose Sharks.
Boom! The applause is there for the theme from Jaws, my friend. Nicely done. I thought a lot of people might go Star Wars for the Dallas Stars.
I didn't think of that.
I mean, you nailed it right off the rip.
It was the first thing popped in my mind. You said John Williams. You said movie soundtrack theme. It's like Jaws. San Jose Sharks.
Nice. Well, let me throw one more out here at you because you were on such a roll
And
this evening. Famous quotes. What famous comedian who was active from 1898 to 1946 was also known as a juggler and an actor in vaudeville, famously said, "Never work with animals and children"?
Ooh. First thing that pops in my mind is Groucho Marx.
Incorrect, and I'll give you a mulligan on this.
Never work with animals and children. Vaudeville.
He was active from 1898 to 1946.
Should I smoke a cigar while I answer this question?
Perhaps.
George Burns.
W.C. Fields.
Forgot all about him. I genuinely forgot all about. I'm gonna. Oh boy. Plus, I also had to give everybody else a chance to answer.
True, and I have one more question because I want to get into this one prediction round before we go. Baseball. Major League Baseball teams have a long-standing tradition, of course, of retiring a number with a team so that number can never be worn by that team again. The first to do so was the New York Yankees with the number 4 for Lou Gehrig.
Right.
The highest number ever retired that was worn by a player was the number 72, worn by a catcher, whose number 72 was retired in 1997. Who is this player?
Pause for effect, waiting for everybody listening to the show because I was really rushed on 2 of those answers. I jumped the gun because I normally give people a chance to listen. That's why I put the pregnant pause in there. Oh, my stars and garters. It wasn't Bench because that wasn't his number. I'm going to take a pass on this.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you the team. Go ahead.
No, I was going to take a pass. Go ahead.
I'll give you the team. 1997 Chicago White Sox.
No, that's not Przierski's number either. I do not know.
Mr. Carlton Fisk.
That was the second name that popped through my head, but I didn't think it would have been for the White Sox.
Yeah, played for both the Red Sox, probably more famously known for playing for the Red Sox.
That's why I thought it would have been the Red Sox. You said Chicago, it threw me off. Okay,
number
good.
72, the highest number ever retired in baseball. But good job tonight. Man, you were on it.
You know, for some reason, I thought we were going to end up going in the direction of Mariano Rivera, and then you went catcher. Because what was his number?
Well, yeah, Rivera, the last person to wear the number 42 after
42.
Jackie Robinson's 42 was retired across the board. Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought it was ultimately cool as hell for the last home game to have Metallica come out and play the song. It's like, yeah, I'd be there.
Yeah.
I would have marked out for that moment. I'm a Metallica fan, but I like old school Metallica. Some of their new stuff just blows. Ride the Lightning, Blitzkrieg, Kill 'Em All. I liked the Black Album.
Master
it had a couple
of
Huh?
Master of Puppets.
Yeah. I mean, I have, let me see, all the way through Garage Inc. Everything on CD. Everything on CD. I did not buy The Revenge of St. Anger, and I never found a good reason to buy the new one. Because to me, Revenge of St. Anger was...
I was going to say Garage Inc. is probably one of my favorite Metallica albums.
Turn the Page, Whiskey in a Jar, Tuesday's Gone. Oh, God. They had some great remakes on there.
All 3 of those, yes. All 3 of those are staples at Useless Trivia, by the way.
Uh-huh.
Matter of fact, I end every Tuesday game after handing out gift certificates and announcing the winners with Metallica's 1, 2, 3, 4, their cover of Tuesday Dawn.
Yeah, phenomenal song. They just, I mean, the S&M album was good, but I think everybody wanted to jump on the Queensryche bandwagon.
Right.
Because a lot of people do.
Kudos to you for bringing up them. Whew, silent lucidity.
Yeah. And Queensryche, one of the first bands to genuinely incorporate. Now, I'm not going to talk about the Beatles and some of the stuff that they did because they did it sporadically and not that often. Queensryche, Jeff Tate and Company, was one of the first bands to incorporate a full string section or full orchestra into their recordings as well as live performances. Metallica did a good job with S&M. And then another one that actually was just in my book, I am a huge Kiss fan. And when Kiss Symphony came out, I bought 2 copies of the DVD and 2 copies of the CDs. Because I knew that I was going to burn one of them up. And also, folks...
Wow, this is shocking on the air. I had no idea Kiss did an album with the Symphony Orchestra.
Yes, Australia.
Well, I'm definitely going to know what I'm looking for. And I was going to bring that. I don't know if you've seen this, but if you get a chance, I don't know what you listen on Spotify, Pandora, YouTube, whatnot. Collective Soul did all their hits and some other songs with the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra about 8 years ago.
Yep.
Magic.
Oh, yeah. You know, and not every band can pull this off. And yeah, we went music for a few minutes there, kids. We do that. And actually, I'll tell you the truth. One of the things I'm looking for right now is the full original soundtrack to, don't laugh when I say this, the new Power Rangers movie. Brian Tyler has done some great work as far as the orchestral movements in that soundtrack. I've not seen the movie yet. Back to Basics will not air this coming Tuesday night because I'm going to go on the matinee night down at the Amstar in Alabaster. I'm going to catch Power Rangers. But,
nice.
Yeah, they have a 10:30 showing, or I could actually go sooner. It's like the tickets are $5.75. Of course I'm going to go on a Tuesday night. There is no pride in overpaying. I'm not cheap by any stretch.
I was going to say this past weekend I was able to get out to the multiplex and check out Kong, Skull Island, which I thoroughly enjoyed.
I've heard good things about that movie. Now, is it your traditional Kong flick?
Yes and no. Without giving away anything, this may look like a precursor to a new franchise if they want to go that route. There is nothing about New York mentioned. They do not take Kong by boat back to New York. This is a completely different animal. It takes place more about what's obviously going on Skull Island. And one thing I think that was in one of the trailers, so I'm not spoiling anything, is John Goodman is one of the investigators or the team that wants to go over there because he says Skull Island is an uncharted place where more planes and ships have disappeared than any other place in U.S. history. And, of course, the senator that they're trying to get funding for says, you mean like the Bermuda Triangle? And he says, yes, but, sir, this is where myth meets reality. This is real. And the cast was incredible. John C. Reilly, John Goodman, Tom Huddleston, Brie Larson, and Samuel L. Jackson. Nicely done.
And since John Goodman is in it, I can actually go ahead and pop the cork and let everybody know a spoiler right now. Yes, the stunt double for Kong was Roseanne.
You make me think back to one of those celebrity roasts when Tom Arnold, her former ex-husband, said, yes, I did have Roseanne's name tattooed on my left ass cheek, which made me the 6th largest property owner in the state of California.
Oh, damn. That's a good one.
Oh, he said that at the roast of Roseanne. That was great.
That's funny as hell. Lo and behold, there's a number of things that we didn't hit. Tell you what, folks, we're going to play this part live. Are you under time constraints? Can we go, want to hit the top of the hour?
We can go. I had one more thing, and I don't want to step on any toes, but real quick while it's fresh in my brain, baseball starting up, and I don't ever boast, but I got to say it, it's music to my ears to see all the advertisements saying, for the first time in 109 years, the Chicago Cubs look to defend their World Series title. As we go into the 2017 season. So, Eddie, I will get your thoughts on a World Series match. We'll do an ALCS, NLCS World Series and winner. Who are your two teams in the American League that will be fighting for the pennant?
I'm going to Ryan Seacrest you. And I'll give you my answer after the break. Hour 2 in the books. We're going to come back and go bonus time right here on the Shooters Gallery on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network and ProWrestlingRadio.net. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
This is Super Cop Dick Justice, America's favorite wrestler, American-born hero. And right now, like a stiff bear hug, you are locked into Beyond Ringside.
When planning your next party or special event, insist on the best. Full Range Entertainment is a professional entertainment company providing a full range of services. From professional disc jockeys and MCs to catering and photography, when the details of your special day must be perfect, call us first. Wedding receptions, corporate parties, school functions, birthday celebrations, and more. We also have Birmingham's largest selection of karaoke tracks available. With over 40 years combined experience, Full Range Entertainment can provide you with the talent and professionalism you need and deserve to make your next event one you'll never forget. For more information on the full range of services we offer, call 533-HITS. That's 533-HITS. Or check us out on our website at fullrangeentertainment.com.
Hello again, everybody, and this is Stan Grubb for Corner to Corner Radio for the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. Join us every Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with myself, Rob Hefner, and Brian Taylor as we bring you our thoughts and feelings on the world of professional wrestling and everything in between. As my good friend Rob would say, from corner to corner and pillar to post, we bring it to you every week. We look forward to seeing you. Thanks again for listening to the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
The To Be Determined Show live Wednesday nights, 9 Central Standard Time. Join myself, the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, the Grand Design, Clyde Braddock, and the Magic City Monroe, Fast Eddie Layne, as we take you to the edge of uncensored. Yes, we go uncensored, so make sure you have your earmuffs. Ask your parents, for those of you that are a little young, maybe under 18, but make sure if you have any heart conditions or any mental defects, please listen, because they may take effect right here live every Wednesday night, 9 Central Standard Time. Beyond Ringside Radio Network, beyondringside.com.
Sunday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern here on beyondringside.com. Join us for the Midnight Black Mass. Myself, the Reverend Dan Wilson, brings you the dark gospel of professional wrestling, uncensored, unedited, uncut, and not for the faint of heart. You can find out more about us at youtube.com/pottyhumor or subscribe at Potty Humor on iTunes and Stitcher today.
Howdy, friends. This is the Magic City Motormouth, Fast Eddie Layne, with your invitation to join yours truly, along with Mark Mabo Bowman and the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, every Sunday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. Pacific, for Beyond Ringside Live. Wrestling, mixed martial arts, sports talk, and a whole lot more. Keep your eyes open on beyondringside.com for all of upcoming show information, and of course, catch us on social media as well. Until then, we'll see you this Sunday, 6:30 Eastern, for Beyond Ringside Live on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.